Hello, part two of Will the Truth Set You Free? So, y'all, this is just a peek in the window of a piece of my life that I wanted to share with y'all about, my honesty and truth setting you free about an experience that I had. And so, the only reason why I'm feeling led to tell you guys any of this at all is because I know people deal with this and have went through this or going through this. And I really want to be able to set you free as much as I can, just to let you know that you are not the only one that's been through it. You're not the only one that's going through it. And hopefully I can help you see things from another perspective and give you a little bit of strength to be honest with yourself about where you are. So back in like 2004, um, I was dealing with an individual. And while dealing with that individual, I had at first I thought everything was good. It was real cool, it was fun, it was funny, it was refreshing, if you will. Um, but really soon after beginning to deal with the individual, I started seeing stuff. I started seeing things that was a little off. I started feeling a little weird, which I kind of felt weird in the beginning, but I did not pay attention. But so I just stayed with it. And then after a while, I think maybe the person kind of sensed my discomfort and my, red flag antennas. And so the person began to give me like $1,000 a week in allowance. Well, I had three kids. And at that time, I working? Yes, I was working. But I was just working a little job, and so I was getting the money, I was working, I was taking care of the kids, and we was doing a lot of stuff together. Well, time continues to pass on, right? And he began to go through my trash can, he began to go through my cell phones, he began to do all the things, but all the while, what he was all the while, there's other females calling his phone. And unbeknownst to me, one of the females tell me that he got a second phone. And so I'm thinking like, no, he don't. And so this is maybe a year later, y'all. And so when I go to find the second phone, because the lady told me there's incoming calls that was for like 45 minutes, other calls that was like 12 minutes, just calls, and it was like two or three numbers that were calls that numbers that I really just couldn't recognize if I wanted to, because they weren't, you know local numbers to the cities that we would live in, or however. And I didn't think nothing of it, like, okay, maybe that's his work phone. And so the lady calls again, and she's telling me different things, and stuff is starting to add up. And I'm thinking like, I really don't want to know this. And I'm thinking like, but I guess I need to know it. Well, as soon as I go to ask the individual about the stuff, the fighting began. Like, it just got crazy. Like, the individual would just start, just saying all kind of crazy stuff, accusing me of all kind of crazy stuff. Then, like, just, it was weird. Like, if I was up early in the morning, it's almost like I had to stay on the phone with the individual the whole entire time. Um, and then, like, when the individual would come home, if I wasn't like there, because he wouldn't tell me he was coming, but he would come home, and then if I wasn't there, he would tear up the house on the inside, or throw furniture outside and break the furniture, or if he had cooked by time, like if he was to cook and I didn't make it home by the time the food was done, he would throw the food in the middle of the floor. And y'all, I was in my 20s at the time when that was going on. And I just, I kind of, now mind you, at this time, that's like 2 years in, at when the food stuff started being thrown on the floor. But again, I had gotten into some trouble in the 90s, in the late 90s. And I had a criminal record. And I had worked some jobs, but I really just kind of wanted to spend some time with my kids, even though I was working a job and I was getting $1,000 like a week in allowance. I was just like, this is so much of a freedom lifestyle, getting my money, put my money in the bank, spending $1,000 allowance. I had when we moved, that was year two. So year three, we moved and into a pretty decent home, and I was just like, okay, I think I may need to get out of this. Like, I don't know how to get out of this, but what am I supposed to do? Like, at this point, like my lifestyle had already went to like a maybe like a $5,500 a month lifestyle, and so I'm thinking like $5,500 a month. I had uh I had a vehicle, he had a vehicle, I had a motorcycle, we had two dogs. We lived in a 3 bedroom, 2 bath brick home. We had, the phones, just the things. So again, our lifestyle had went to like $5,500 a month, and I was thinking like, I, I don't know what I would do without living like this. Like, I kind like, this is the lifestyle that I have always wanted to live, and then I had to start being honest with myself, and excuse me, and asking myself like, how is it that I could live like this without his income? And I had to figure it out, because not only were we to a point to where I was kind of afraid, it's like he even almost kind of started threatening, if I left, what would happen. And so, and then he started to kind of like try to make me feel like, you know, you got 3 kids, and you young, like, ain't nobody gonna take care of you like this. Ain't nobody gonna want to, fund your lifestyle. Ain't nobody gonna, you know, do want to do this with you or do that with you, because you always got to have your kids. Just kind of just crazy. And at the time, I kind of just was believing him. I'm thinking like, he right, like I remember growing up when I like well, how many kids did I have at that time? I guess I had no, I only had 2 kids, and I remember this older lady telling me something about a ready-made family, and I didn't even know what that was. But then when I kind of asked someone, they was just like, it's because you already have kids and you're not married. And I was just like, oh wow. I was just like, so when he would say the stuff he was saying, I would think back to that. The lady saying something about ain't nobody gonna want nobody with no ready-made family. And so those things was playing like do dee dee do in my head. So I was just like, dang, I gotta stay top, figure out, how to make more money, how to do this, how to do that, or whatnot. And so, as you know, as this story continues, things only got worse. Things only got worse. So this is how much worse it got around year 4. Was it year 4 or 3? Year 3. It was year 3. So we moved a little bit away out of town together. And a female called the phone. So when the female calls the phone, I answer, but he outside. He outside of the vehicle. So I answer the phone, and the female is telling me he just left from up here this morning because he had just made it home to where I was at and asked me to meet him. So I went to meet him, and I had gotten up in the vehicle to talk to him, but he had got out of the vehicle to do something. And so while he out of the vehicle, the phone rings and I answer it. Well, the female is telling me, well, he had just left here. We spent the whole day together yesterday. He spent the night at my house last night, and just telling me what they did together that night and that morning. And I'm just like, what? And she was just like, yeah, we've been seeing each other for almost a year now, or something like that. And I was just like, okay, so that's cool. So I reach out the window and I was just like, the missus is on the phone. He jumps into the vehicle. At the time, it was flip phones, y'all. So y'all know how old this story is. So he closes the phone on the lady and begins to choke me out. I'm talking about choke me out. I remember nothing outside of seeing like dark. And so he chokes me out to the point I think of death. Now, mind you, the location we are is on a street, but we are in kind of like a secluded like area. But on the other side of the street is like a couple of homes. It's like one home, two home, a street like this, then it's the main street. And so it's one home, two homes, and then another home. Well, right here, where this home right here is, they having a family reunion or a birthday party, some sort of something. Well, I saw them when I was coming into that little area, and the area is open, so you could see that we were parked there. Well, what was going on in the vehicle, they could not see. So no one was going to be able to help me as I got choked out, right? And so I don't know. I think Buddy
Think he had
as I
offed me.
began to come to, Buddy was not in the truck. And so when I see when I'm coming to and I'm catching my breath or whatnot, and again Buddy not in the truck, so I'm looking like, oh my god, like, because Buddy was Buddy, man. And so I'm thinking Buddy probably got a gun and fits to blow my brains out, probably got a silencer on it, whatever, whatnot. And so I'm looking for Buddy, right? And lo and behold, Buddy is in my car, going through everything in my car. Like I hear boom, boom, going through the trunk, going under the seats, digging. I think Buddy was looking for my phone. Or I don't even know. I don't even know what was going on because it's been so long ago. But as I see Buddy getting ready to walk around the vehicle to get back into the truck, I jump out the passenger side, y'all. Oh my God. It's been a while. I don't think I ever told the story live. Whew. Okay. So Buddy is going around to get back into the vehicle. And when I see that it's no way that Buddy would have known that I was getting out, I didn't even close the door. I got out of the vehicle and I didn't close the door. Well, when I got out of the vehicle and was getting down, I guess and I had just got in my car. But what happened was I closed the door on my car, and I think Buddy heard that because I don't know how he figured out that I was like out of the truck and alive. Whew. Okay. And so, I need water. And so, I get into the vehicle, and y'all, this is public records. This is out on public record. So I get into my vehicle, and I'm trying to drive off to safety, right? Well, at this moment, Buddy's hollering and Buddy's banging on the car, so it gets the people's attention, but they don't know because Buddy's on this side, they're on that side. They don't know what's going on, and so I punched the gas, right? I punched the gas. Well, the whole time, Buddy is hanging on to my car. So as I'm trying to figure out how to like properly get out of this location, I have to slow down. At this time, Buddy runs in front of my vehicle. He lets go to the side and runs in front of the vehicle, like for me to stop or hit him or whatever. And so at this time, I do a donut. I'm trying to get Buddy away from the vehicle so I can safely get out. He can just go on. So at this time, as I'm doing my donut to turn around, Buddy is like doing like this in front of the car. So I'm thinking like, all right, here we go. This is it. The people across the street sees this, calls the cops. We go to jail. So no one saw that, but they saw me.
So that's the only story they was able to tell the police.
From what they saw. Oh my God, y'all. Oh, okay, so we goes to jail. I'm facing 25 years in prison for like attempted murder or whatever they was trying to charge me with. It's public record. You can go look it up. But we go to jail. I have my brother come bomb me out. And guess what happens? I go back to Buddy. Yep, I went back to Buddy. And not only did I go back to Buddy, I quit my job. And I let Buddy move me about 3 hours away from my family. So we move out here, and things was just as crazy. And not even, it was just as crazy. But I knew By the time I got out here, right before I moved out here, I was just like, I gotta get away. So I don't see myself surviving this. I don't see myself getting out of this alive. And at this point, there was really no kind words coming out of Buddy's mouth toward me. And it was some other stuff that did happen. It was some other stuff that did happen because if anybody know this story, there's not too many people that was close to me at this time, but there's other parts of this story that could be told. Um, but I don't know how to tell it. Um, I think around year 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, around 3, I had took a turn for the worst mentally. And when I say mentally, meaning I wasn't thinking, I didn't want to think clearly about anything. I didn't want to think clearly about the situation I had put myself in, but more so the situation I put my kids in. Because at this time, Buddy just kept saying, like, what would happen to me if I were to try to leave? If just anything, just what would happen to me, what would happen to the kids if I tried to leave or whatnot. And so I I stayed anyway because I was scared at this point. I no longer cared about the money. I no longer cared about the house. I didn't care about the car. I didn't care about nothing. But what I did do is stack a lot of money during that time. I stacked a lot of money, about $25,000. But it wasn't just the money that he was giving me, but he gave me money. But that money I pretty much used to pay the bills. Even though he sent money home for the bills as well. But when I say pay the bills, meaning like grocery shopping, and cell phone, I think that's the bill I paid with some of the money, the allowance that he would give me, and the dog food I would go buy that. Um, and a lot of the times, because of the type of person he would call home for me to do stuff with some of the money that he sent me, which was out of my allowance, because he knew exactly what the bills were. So the money he sent, matter of fact, when he came home, we would pay the bills, even though the money was already allotted on a card. He already knew. So the money on that card, we would take that money and go pay the bills. But the money he sent me for my allowance, we would take some of that money when he got home as well and go like get other types of groceries, go get the dog food, go fill the vehicles up with gas. Maybe every now and again we would travel to different places when he would come home, even though he didn't have much time when he did come home. But when we moved out of town the 4th year, and I was looking for something. I was so lost and empty, y'all. By the time year 4 came with Buddy, it was the most exhausting, demonic, dark, scary, empty. Just it was, y'all. Ooh, God. Oh, y'all. It was the worst. It was really the worst time of my life. But the first couple of years, I kept telling myself it was the best years of my life because Buddy was such a provider, and I hadn't experienced that. But y'all, I was 20. I was in my late 20s. I was like 26, 27. I was like 25. I was 25. I was young. And so 25, 26, 7 to 8. I don't know. I was in my 20s. But I kept thinking that it was the best years of my life, but lo and behold, it was such a deceit. But let me put a pin right here, y'all. Y'all, I'm having an anxiety attack or something. I can't breathe. Okay. I think this is the first time I told this story publicly too, so it's a little crazy. But anyway, I I started like the end of year 3. I just felt like I was gonna die. I wasn't gonna make it out of that. And then when year 4 came, like at the end of year 3, I really, really just started not caring and just hanging out and doing stuff. That just wasn't like it was just like you want to die type situation, type stuff, and places I was going and things that I was doing. Like I had no care in the world, and I was just doing that. And so when we ended up moving, right before we moved, I was just like, okay, God, I have nothing left inside. I'm empty. I'm scared. I'm lost. Like, you got to do something. And I remember going to church before we moved out of the town, and I'm sitting on, I think maybe the second row. And the pastor came and he was standing in front of me and he was preaching the whole sermon. And he had moved the mic and said, "Are you okay?" Now, mind y'all, to be honest with y'all, I was high at church. and I couldn't even talk. I wasn't high because I had smoked that day. It's just that I had been smoking like 3 days straight. And I was sitting, I was sitting like this. And I'm listening to everything he's saying. And I'm just saying, Jesus, Jesus. In my mind, I'm just rocking back and forth. And I'm just saying, Jesus, Jesus. Y'all, I was so lost. And I was so scared. And it was such a dark moment. And I just didn't know what to do no more. I didn't care no more. I just didn't know what to do no more. And so I'm just sitting there and I'm just in my mind, just Jesus, 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 Jesus. And he was asking me. Now my lips wasn't moving or nothing. I'm just in my head. And he comes in front of me and he moves the mic and asks me, "Am I okay?" And I say, "Yeah, I do like this." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay." So I'm thinking that, yeah, this was the same day. So of course, you know how church get ready to end and stuff, right? And he calls people up for prayer. I'm not hearing nothing. I'm spiritless. I'm scared. I'm dark. I'm lost. I don't know nothing. I can't hear nothing. So I didn't get up to go up there for prayer. I'm just sitting. And he praying. And he asked his wife to come stand up in front of the church as he praying for people, right? And I'm just watching. I'm just watching him, you know? And so he comes back over. And he asked me to come up so his wife and him could pray for me. And I'm like, okay. So I go up. And this is like 3 days before I left, maybe 2 days before I left, moved out of town. So I'm in front of the church and he's saying stuff to the church, but not particularly about me. He just saying, as you know, as we begin to pray, I need you all to pray in the spirit. And so that's what he said. So he moved the mic. And he's telling his wife, you know, "I need you to lay your hands on the bottom of her stomach." And I think she had one of her hands right here, y'all. And I never let people play with me like that. I don't like for people to touch my head. I got enough going on up there. I don't need nothing that's inside of you that is not of God to be, you know, jumping into my mind. Because I'm serious about the way that I think and, you know, spirits and stuff. So she doing that. But as she touched my head, I'm talking about she clear praying. She not speaking in tongues or nothing. I'm talking about she speaking to anything in me and everything in me that is not of God. She is speaking to that so boldly. I had never, ever, ever really experienced nothing like that. And I didn't understand, like, I wasn't thinking like, why y'all bothering me? I'm just really thinking like, why me? Why are y'all praying for me like this? Like, why y'all call me up here to pray for me? Like, it's other people in here that's hurting. They probably ain't going through what I'm going through, but and it ain't that I feel like I didn't deserve it. I just don't. It was a why me thing. I can't explain that part right now. But so as she praying, y'all, this lady's praying and she covering my heart and she put two hands on my stomach and she is, you know, like just wiping, just, and she wiping and she wiping and she wiping and praying and she touching all the way down to my feet, telling like God to order my steps and that she, you know, rebuke any assignment of the enemy and just going forth and going forth and going forth. And I'm thinking like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, cool, whatever. So when they get through praying, I just say thank you and I walk off. Clearly, just thank you. And I go back and sit down. Church over, I leave. I don't wait around nothing. I just leave. So I go back to where we were staying at, and I'm thinking like I wasn't thinking nothing. I was empty. I was lost. I was still empty and lost even after that. Like I'm just, and this is the same days we went to sleep next morning. I'm still feeling numb, same way, lost, confused. And I think for about three, four, I'm telling you now, about 6 or 7 days straight, I had no words. I didn't even go nowhere, y'all, before that, but after that either. And all I could just say was Jesus, 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 because I didn't have nothing else to give. I didn't have a thought. I didn't have a, I didn't have nothing. And so we move on out of town. And I'm just, thinking like, okay, this is cool. This is cool. I ain't saying I already knew that regardless of what was cool, I didn't know I wanted to do anything. I didn't know if I wanted to live no more. Would like live. I didn't want to die. I didn't know if I wanted to be with him as far as like looking for a future, like what's after this. I didn't wasn't trying to get no job. I wasn't trying to do nothing. I was just like, it is what it is. Like I just still just was empty. But I remember one day he had left after we kind of got settled in. Probably was like the first week, and I had went riding up and down, kind of like let me go see what's in this neighborhood. And so I was riding up and down. I ain't like nothing, with nothing up there. And I was riding down. I was like, you know what? That go a church. I was just like, you know what? I probably need to visit a church. And so I was like, oh, there's a church. And I rode down small. And I'm like, oh, there's a church. And then I think it was one more church. And I was just like, I'm going to just visit them all and see, which one. I just need to get up under some type of covering because I'm empty. So I visited one church, girl. When I tell y'all, everybody in there was about 70 and up, and it was about 30 of them. But it was a big church too, but it was about 30 of them, and they was all 70 and up. Then I went to another church down the road, and in that church, the people were definitely like my age, a little bit younger and a little bit older, and it was so many of them, y'all. But this was a like a Pentecostal church, and was it wasn't Pentecostal. Um it was a church, Kojic church, and so these people speaking in tongues, and baby, when I tell you, baby, they was in there. You hear me? They was dancing and dancing and dancing and stuff, and that was cool. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. After that, look, first look, them speaking in tongues and running around that church, I'm finna go. Cause I had experienced that, but mind you, you kind of I was still in the dark a little bit in my spirit, and I'm thinking like, baby, what is this? And so the pastor came out, and at this time, I'm just like Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Like I just need some help. Like at this point, like this can't be my real life. Like something gotta give. And so, mind y'all, my kids are with me throughout all of this stuff, y'all. And so we sitting in church, and the man started preaching. He just preaching, and he just preaching, and he just preaching. And so something do a little tug in my spirit, and I'm like, oh, okay, wow, okay. And so I'm looking, looking, looking. That was cool. I leave. So I'm like next couple of days, I drive up further on the other side, and I didn't have I didn't have no thoughts of revisiting that church or none of that. I just went there. That was that. And I was just like, you know what? I gotta have my own money because regardless of what he can and can't do, I need my own money because I can't keep going through this like this. And so when after I had that one church experience in the country before I left, and then the church experience in Houston, where I was at, I was just like, I gotta do something different. So I went on up and I ended up getting a job up the street. And so in the same breath of me going getting that job, I came back to the house and I checked the mail for the first time. We had been here now like 2 weeks. So I checked the mail, and there was some paperwork off in there about going to college and stuff. And I'm thinking like, oh Lord, ain't nobody finna go to no college for all these years. And I look and I just read on through the paper, and it was just like a little kind of like a vocational type situation, and I could go for I think it was like 9 months. And so I went, and when I went to go, I set the appointment to go up there to the school and see what was going on, just to see. And so as I set the appointment to go up to the school to see what was going on, I they didn't have the particular thing I wanted to go to school for, which was billing and coding. They didn't have billing and coding at that particular school because the school was new. And I said, and they said they probably have it like next year. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. So they were just like, well, we have other stuff out of this one and this one. Which one would you like? And I said, okay, I'll take dental. So I wasn't planning on going there for that. I just was trying to see what it was like. Like, do this, is this even real kind of situation? And so they walked me through there and they were just like, and this is what we do when we have these programs and these programs and an ambassador program and this program. And I just want to see, do you think that you can see yourself here? That's what the man who was giving me the tour was saying. And then I was just like, yeah. So they walked me through another couple of stuff, and then they walked me through the professional part of the school, and introduced me to like the different people, and then they introduced me to the dean, and the dean was very, very, very nice to me, and he was walking me through a couple of little things, and then they took me over, of course, to where I can sign up and stuff, and I signed up and everything, and I still didn't have no intention on going. I just didn't. Well, as kept going to work and stuff, I was just like, I guess I should probably go on to school. Like, why not? And so as I told them to readjust my schedule and stuff, and I started going to school, I and I'll finish the story about school another time because I want to get to the full circle moment of the purpose of the video. But I I started going to school and working, and that's two stories within themselves. But let me, because my 30 minutes is up. So let me tell y'all the moral of this story. Y'all, I was in so much denial. Not so much. Yeah, I was in denial, but it was like when stuff started happening in the beginning of that relationship, and I started seeing stuff. I kept telling myself lies, I guess. Like, oh, he not gonna hurt me. Oh, he not this. Oh, he not that. Oh, I can handle it. Oh, I'll be okay. Oh, but I really wasn't taking the fact that what he was presenting himself as for face value. If people show you who they are, believe them. I was not believing that that's who they, because this can't be real. Like maybe he just upset about something. And I think that's what we be telling ourselves. If you are someone that has been in an abusive relationship, or is in an abusive relationship, you begin to see the things and you just like, oh, let me just be quiet. Maybe he upset about something else. And then when the other things start getting worse and worse and worse, then fear kick in. And then you just like, okay, I just gotta be quiet. Oh, okay, I just gotta be on the phone all the time when he called. Okay, I gotta make sure I answer the phone when he called. Okay, when he need me to do something, I just gotta do whatever he says. And so going through that is traumatic within itself. That's not that's just putting on top of everything else in a traumatic life that you probably ever went through. Because I'm gonna tell you now, and this is probably some stuff somebody may not want to hear, but if you have not been loved properly in your childhood, in the sense of having nurturing mother and father that protected you and guided you, and really just knew God for who God was, you you probably experienced that. And I'm not saying that those are the only ways you can experience that, but you probably experienced that if you didn't have the proper care growing up. I'm just saying. And even if you did, you probably could experience that as well, because people be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and you don't know which one you getting. But either way, so I had to begin to be honest with myself, y'all. I had to be honest with myself about, is it really possible that dude could kill me and my children? The answer was yes. Is it really possible that I could not make it out of this alive? Y'all, the answer was yes. Is it really possible that I'm in this for the money? The answer was yes. Do I love myself enough to to do whatever it takes to get out of this? The answer ended up being yes. But while I was in it, the answer wasn't yes. And so I said all of that, y'all, to say this. I don't care what form of abuse it is. It could be sibling abuse. It could be parental abuse. It could be spousal abuse. It could be um, being abused at church. It could be, being abused at your job. No matter what it is, y'all, if it don't feel right, be honest with yourself about what it is that is happening. Be honest with yourself about how you feel about what's happening. Be honest with yourself about if it feels like love, if it feels like something that can propel you forward, if it feels like a safe place. And if it doesn't, you got to be, let your truth to yourself be the thing that takes you out of the darkness and move you into a different spot. Because if you don't, the possibilities are that something bad could happen in there, that you could just not see daylight afterwards. And so be honest with yourself about what's happening in that particular situation. And the truth that you get from being honest with yourself, allow that truth to take you out of darkness. Because if you don't and you stay in it, it'll just be the same spirit, but just different experiences. And it's not worth it. It's not worth it, because regardless of who was close enough to know, once we went to jail, they knew. Not only once we went to jail did they know, there was marks and scars. And I know that y'all be seeing this right here. This is a story that I didn't tell y'all about that happened in there. But my mouth was busted. Thank God all my teeth are still here, but my mouth was busted right here from that particular situation. And that's what's wrong with my lip. Right there. Yeah, right there. That's what's wrong with my mouth. But whew, y'all, that was a lot. That's the story of that. And I'm gonna go so I can kind of just recalibrate my spirit and edit some other stuff and stuff. So thank y'all so much for watching. And I have a lot more stuff to tell y'all, but I really do feel like the truth will set you free. The truth will set you free in the sense of being honest with yourself, telling yourself the truth about where you are, telling yourself the truth about who you're with, telling yourself the truth about what it feels like being where you are and with who you're with. Y'all, the truth can only set you free the truth can only set you free if you're honest with yourself about where you are, and you have to begin to make a plan to get out of it if you are not safe. Thank you for watching.